Hi, it's Ryan.
And Cheryl.
From Knights Around the Table. Alright, so hopefully you got a chance to see our bottom 10 favorite games of all time, numbers 10 to number 5 from me and from Cheryl. Now we're going to do number 5 to number 1. So these are the biggest, shiniest examples of board games that we absolutely adore. I hope that you adore them too. And the reason why these lists are useful is because if people who love board games and host channels tell you what they like and you really like those games too, then later on when we say, I really like this game, it's a high chance that you're going to like that game too. And conversely, if the picks that we make are all games that you absolutely despise, that's also useful to you, because then when Ryan comes out or Cheryl comes out and says, oh, this game's awesome, you can go, well, they have terrible taste. And I, thank you, you saved me a buck.
Different taste.
Different taste. Yeah, sorry, different taste. But thank you, you saved me from running out and purchasing that game. I think it's useful on either side,
definitely.
Whether you agree with us or don't agree with us. So here we go. We're going to launch into our top 5 games of all time. Cheryl, we're on to what, number 5 now?
Yes, number 5. Sea of Legends.
Sea of Legends? Tell me all about it. Tell me all about Sea of Legends. Did you see how excited I just got?
Number 5. Sea of Legends.
Sea of Legends.
So...
top of the charts for 17 weeks running. Sea of Legends, yes.
Sea of Legends. I just really enjoy every time we play it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know they've been fixing the app, and so they've, you know, there was a couple bugs in some of the games, so they were not too hard to get around.
No, they weren't game breaking. Weirdly, you can play without the app. I don't suggest you should. There's a whole chunk of the game that you'd be missing. Like, imagine you can play. Well, maybe not. I don't know. It'd be hard to.
I don't know. I wouldn't play without it because I really like the little stories, and
amazing.
I don't know. It's adorable and super fun.
I agree.
Just super fun. It's just, I don't know. I just have fun every time I play that game. I don't care if I win. I don't care if I lose. I'm just having fun.
Oh, it's great. It's great. Yeah, it's fun in a box.
Yeah.
That game, fun in a box.
Yeah.
Oh, what I should say, Sea of Legends you can play on Tabletop Simulator.
Yes.
My number 5 is a game called Keyflower.
Oh, Keyflower.
One of the oldest games on my list, and I think, again, it's to the game's credit that it's got such staying power. You lightened up when I said Keyflower. Keyflower does stuff that...
I forgot about it. Yeah, no, it's great.
It combines a lot of mechanics that are like the individual mechanics in a bunch of different games. And like it combines them all and it does it really well. It's a worker placement game, sort of, and it's an auction bidding game. Everyone has their own little farm homestead and tiles come out for each season, spring, summer, winter, fall. I got that order wrong, but you use a secret screen full of randomly drawn colored meeples, 3 different colors, and there's a 4th color you can unlock later, and you use them to bid on tiles. And if you're outbid, you can reallocate your meeples to other tiles to be able to get them and put them in your little village. And the part that I really like is that you can also put meeples on tiles. If they go to the middle, then they get plucked up by the highest bidder who actually wins the tile. But you can also put your meeples on other people's tiles in their villages and use the actions on those villages. So really, one of the reasons why you might buy a tile is to entice people to come use your tile, because when they place meeples on them, you get those meeples, and then you're enriched for the next. It's just so smart and so cool. And I had somebody like bark at me on YouTube saying like, oh, it's not that cool that you get to reallocate bids because this game does that and this game does that. Maybe don't play enough bidding games, but it really felt unique to me, and I haven't seen it in a lot of other games. It's just cool. It's just cool. I did a how to play video, so check that out. I did a really killer, I didn't design it, but I printed this really killer insert for it. So there's a Bits Please episode showing that, which I think looks really neat. Great game.
Yes.
And you can play it on BGA, though I'll warn you, this is Board Game Arena. There's no undo. It's very unforgiving. So if you click and place a meeple, meeple laid, meeple played, and that's it, sucker. No backing out of that. I wish they'd fix that. I wish they'd revisit it and update it. But you can play it for free online. Try it out. What is your number 4?
My number 4 is Obsession.
Obsession. Excellent game. But tell us why it's on your list.
So I just love it. I really love Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice. I know I love the theme. So
and I think you have to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, could you see anybody playing that game who didn't love Upstairs, Downstairs, Jane Austen?
I mean, I guess you could, but like maybe it wouldn't. hit the same way.
Yeah, for me, it's theme all the way. If you're not into that theme, like half the fun of that, or most of the fun of that game, is playing into the like, oh, did you hear? Remember when we did a live playthrough of that?
Yes.
We had tea, we shared gossip, we spilled the tea on.
Rumor has it your family comes from fishmongers.
Oh my gosh, how shocking!
Yes,
we had a really good time. Check that out.
Yeah,
that's
fun.
a great pick. That's an awesome game, and that's a game that our patrons purchased for us. I should proviso, caveat, I should say that as well. We receive free games from publishers from time to time. None of the stuff on the channel is bought in the way that like they'll send us a game, they'll say do a review, and we'll do a review. Oh, I love the game because I got it for free. None of that. So all the stuff that we get paid for is to make how to play videos most of the time. We do a bunch of how to play videos for free just because we enjoy games. So there's only one game I think so far that we've mentioned that was given to us for free that we're now editorializing on. So just for the sake of transparency, I want to just reveal that game was Sea of Legends. I believe everything else that we've purchased for ourselves or our patrons thought we'd really enjoy it and purchase it for us, which is the case with Obsession. So I'll put that out so we can be transparent because I think it's really important, and it's also the law. And that's why, by the way, when you saw the contains pay promotion, that's why that was there at the beginning of the video. It's not that this video is being sponsored by anybody in particular, but if any of the games on our lists were sent to us for free by the publishers, we receive something of value, so I got to click that checkbox. So that's what that's all about. This is not a paid video by anybody else. Number 4.
Oh, is it?
No, it's number 4 for me.
For you, yes. Don't keep your list open.
Oh, I'm sorry. You might be surprised.
Secrets.
You might be surprised that it's not higher on the list, but number 4 for me is Tricarion Legends of Illusion.
It's not higher on your list?
It's not 4. 3 other games are exciting me now more than Tricarion, although Tricarion, with David Turchi's involvement, despite him being a punk, he worked on the expansion, I believe, designed the expansion. I love Tricarion. It's my birthday game, as you well know. I know. But the reason why
it might be in the top 3 at least.
The reason why
I'm interested to see the rest.
Okay, well, the reason why it might be slipping is just because I talk about, games play different roles in our lives. And the role that this plays in my life is like can Ryan harass anybody into playing it with him once a year? So because it's so big and because like just setting up the game and making those initial game choices usually takes around 15 minutes, it's just so hard to get to the table. I love playing it, but it's so hard to do. And a lot of other games get to the table a lot faster, and that's why Tricarion is...
And it's a 45-minute teach.
Yeah, if you have to teach. We know how to play.
Yeah.
I think we should be playing like crazy.
And
but,
we know how to play, and it takes us 45 minutes to teach it.
Yeah, for new players. Yeah, exactly. But I would play it more if it was less of a beast. But part of the reason why I like it is that it's a beast. It's thematic. It's interesting. I don't know. I love every moment of it. Now,
It's a great game.
One thing I have to do.
It's worth the time.
It really is, and it's not. It doesn't have a recessed board. And what I find is you can do counting errors with points, and that really messes things up because the whole thing is about points. So what I actually have to do is I have to have like a ledger, like a bank ledger.
Yeah, you keep a logbook. Of points
to see who scored what for what, so we can go back and audit it. Otherwise, there's no way to audit.
The gentleman, 4 points.
Yeah,
for
going to this location and doing this. Yeah, but it's worth it. That slows our games down a little bit too, I think.
A little bit, but not terribly.
If you want to see me play that on my birthday stream from 2 years ago, you can watch me play the solo mode,
the epic,
which took
like
me
8 hours.
It did take 8 hours. I was learning the solo mode, but still 8 hours. My gosh.
Yeah.
All right, Cheryl, what is your number 3 favorite board game of all time?
Number 3.
Number 3. This is high stakes. These are the big ones.
I know.
Number 3 from each of us.
I am aware.
What's it going to be?
Number 3 just arrived at our house. In my time.
That doesn't narrow it down, honestly.
Seriously?
So many games have arrived at our house in the past couple weeks.
Okay, number 3 is Distilled. Yes. So I really love Distilled. We only played it like twice.
What is it? I've never heard of that game. What is it?
Kind of hilarious.
What's the deal?
So
I'm just playing. I know I played it. I made a how to play video for. I've been hired to make a second how to play video. I know all about it.
True.
For the benefit of the people watching.
And I'm not doing it because it's sponsored. I'm doing it because he had to send it back after doing the first video.
Right.
And I was like devastated because I was like, why? I want to keep playing this. I want to.
Cheryl
Why?
was so upset to see Distilled leave.
Like, and I was like mad when he was packing it back up.
Right, so that's another example where they sent the game to us for free. We've actually been hired to make the video, but like, come on. Yeah.
I really love it. It's so cool. And like, we don't drink, so it's not like the theme is like a thing for us.
I love games about booze.
Because you're distilling like wine and spirits and whatnot, and I
have no idea how that process goes.
I don't know either.
But the game taught me.
But yeah.
Sort of, yeah.
Sort of. I mean, I don't know. It's super fun. I really love I think some people might hate the randomness of pulling out an ingredient and you're not sure what you end up making it.
Yeah, and there's kind of a push your luck aspect to it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's scratch an itch. And I don't know, just the whole thing, when we played it twice, it was just so fun, and all I wanted to do was keep playing it.
Well, I think we really like games that serve theme, where it's theme first, and Distilled is a very theme first game.
It very much is.
One of the things going on in Distilled is you're putting together this little deck of cards that has all the ingredients and stuff in it you're going to need to distill a certain spirit. And the more sort of like I forget, is it worker placement?
And you're upgrading your bottles and you're like...
Right, but the more effort or the more turns or stuff you do, the more cards you get to put in there to mitigate... Because what you're eventually going to be doing is pulling out X number of cards out of that little deck you've made. And either those ingredients work and your distilled thing works, or it doesn't. So that is the random aspect that people might not like. But you can always spend more effort and energy to make it 100%. You're 100% going to pull out the right cards. But then, like, maybe that puts you a little bit farther behind if you live a little bit on the edge. But why that's interesting is that's how distilling actually works. You know what I mean? So it's that the mechanic, I love that the mechanic is faithful to the theme.
Yes.
And
you still end up with something. So it's not like you just might not end up with what you really wanted, right?
Yeah, you might have just end up basically with moonshine, right? You just end up with like bathtub hooch that you got to bottle up.
Fine.
That's all right.
You haven't wasted everything.
Right. But you didn't make the primo booze that you wanted to.
You're not the best distiller.
You are not the best distiller. Yeah, it's neat. It's unique.
It's really cool.
It's mechanic in service of theme, which I think is really interesting.
Yes.
My number 3 is a game that we've mentioned before. Number 3, this high on the list, is Roll for the Galaxy. And again,
that's interesting,
isn't it? Because of the position that it serves in our life, it's our backyard game. So whenever I think of that game, I think about being out in the sun. I think about playing on the patio table.
Especially on a day like today.
Right now in Canada land, where we have a blizzard, we've ordered food and we have to go 2 blocks up the street, and we're dreading it because it's going to be like, okay, put on the goggles and the toque and the mittens and
hope we don't slide all the way there.
Yeah, get the dog sled hitched up to go get our pizza.
White knuckle driving.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, when I think of Roll for the Galaxy, I think of the circumstances under which we play it, and that is all. And it's just a good game, even if you don't have a patio or a backyard to play it on. Even if you're playing it in a hovel, it's still a fantastic game.
It's great.
Yeah, we're on to number 2 for you.
Number 2.
Number 2. There's only 2 remaining.
I know.
That's how numbers work. Right.
Number 2.
All right.
A Feast for Odin.
Oh, A Feast for Odin.
So funny how we're like...
we like similar games.
We really do. That's funny. Yeah, I really love the Tetris part of it. All the pieces, and then you can upgrade the pieces so that because the blue and the greens can't touch? I can't remember.
Greens can't touch.
Yeah, greens can't touch.
But blues can touch anything, including themselves.
Right. So it's like, and then you got to upgrade it, so then you can Tetris this in better.
And you're good when we pack the car. Pack the car, Cheryl packs the car. Yes. So Cheryl likes. It's a very packing the car mechanic. And the better you pack the car,
every little hidey hole.
Tuck it into all the little slots. The better you pack the car, the more money you make, the more income you earn. Wouldn't that be nice if that was like real life?
Yeah, right.
Right. But I think it plays into a skill that you have that I don't have, and I think that you win more games against me than certain other games that we play together because of that. Yeah.
I don't know. I think you've won a couple.
Yeah. Okay. We're pretty evenly matched at that game.
Yeah, it's not bad. You're good at Tetris, though.
I'm good at Tetris, but I'm not good at real life Tetris.
Oh,
I'm not. You should see my studios. Is everything everywhere. I'm not good at putting things away.
No. Well.
Feast for Odin, I should mention, you can play online at Board Game Arena. So check that out. And again, if you haven't seen our How to Play Feast for Odin video, please also watch that. My number 2 is a game that you're not into at all.
Oh.
You're not into it to the point where you will not play it with me. If I suggest that we put this game on the table, you will say, I'm washing my hair. I got other stuff to do.
One of two, actually.
I'm interested to hear which two you think it is.
Okay.
Like, if I say, like, let's put this game on your table, you'll be like, no, I'm busy having an affair with another man. Like, you just anything you can say to get out of...
Straight to adultery?
Straight to adultery. You will not play this game with me. You would rather adulter than play this game with me. What game do you think I'm talking about?
Yeah. Do you want to do it?
I want to hear which two games you think that I'm talking about.
Okay. Zaya or Black Angel?
Okay, those are the two?
I think.
And do we see a thematic connection between Zaya and Black Angel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Space themed.
Yeah, they're both space themed. My number 2 favorite board game of all time is in fact Zaya, Legends of a Drift System.
Yep.
So...
It's just not my thing. I can see why you like it.
Mm-hmm. This list isn't why it's not your thing. It's why it is my thing. But we can talk about that.
I know. No, it's
so
fine.
So it's not your thing. Why? Because it's space? There's 2 space games that you hate. You won't play Eclipse with me either. And that's space. You just don't like space. That's okay, but
I like Roll for the Galaxy, and it's in my top 10, so explain that.
Yeah, it's not the same thing, though. Roll for the Galaxy doesn't give you a big map to explore. Zaya does.
Yes.
You get a cool ship. The ship has powers. Roll for the Galaxy doesn't do any of that stuff. You get to, like, move around. You get to infiltrate planets.
Yeah, it just didn't...
There's good guys. There's bad guys. There's neutral guys. You can shoot... It's a sandbox game. You should shoot ships out of the sky. It's broken. There's problems with it. But... So it's like if you ever played Merchants and Marauders, it's Merchants and Marauders in space. Which I love, and I adored Merchants and Marauders. Adored. Notice how I put a D on the end of that. We'll come back to that in just a second. So it's Merchants and Marauders in space with some problems, but then if you get the expansion, it fixes all those problems. It's unbelievable that all the ship minis come pre-painted. That's crazy to me. And the one thing I don't like about Zaya, though, is that I'm writing the rulebook really hard because I can never remember the rules, and some of them are a little ambiguous in places about crossing over borders into certain planets, and there's always it always gets to a spot where it's like, can you do that? Oh, I should be able to do that, da-da-da. So a little bit of rules lawyering, which I don't really like so much. But otherwise, if you just want to, and okay, I'll tell you about one thing in the game, and if you think that sounds really stupid, then you won't like the game. You're trying to get fame points. Trying to be the most legendary starship captain in the drift system.
I remember.
There's a D20 that you use to make a bunch of decisions. Already, if you don't like that, then tune right out. You roll the D20. If on any of these decision points you roll the D20 and it comes up a natural 20, you get a fame point, which is like a victory point towards winning the game. If you think that's dumb, you're not going to like Zaya. I think that's hilarious. And again,
I think it's cool because... they're fame points.
Yeah, right? It's like the distilled thing where it's like, I don't like randomness in my games, but it serves the theme really well. This rolling a natural 20, you feel amazing. It serves the theme. You're famous. You did this crazy. You tried to jump the fence and you pole vaulted over it. That's hilarious. Love it. It's perfect. Anyway, it's great. It's a great game. It's a great game. Are you yawning? You're all see how I'm putting her to sleep. I saw you stifle a yawn as we're talking about my number 2 board game of all time. Here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna take a little nap, and then you can tell them about your number 1. How about that? I'll just take a little snooze. Please don't speak loudly because I'm gonna really be trying to catch some winks over here.
Yeah.
Eyes wide open, super alert and attentive. Cheryl, please tell us about your number 1 favorite board game of all time. Please direct all angry messages to Cheryl about whatever this pick is.
Angry messages?
I don't know. Didn't like my game. I'm gonna write in the comments. I'm gonna be like, how could she
like Zaya?
I'm gonna go get an alias and I'm gonna comment like, that Cheryl's out of control. Be nice in the comments. If you agree with us nicely. If you disagree with us,
it's
just opinions. Just to disagree with us, but nicely. I'll come back at you in the comments. But it's all fun. It's all fun. If you're mean though, I'm gonna boot your butt out. I'm gonna hoist you by the seat of the pants and kick you out the saloon doors. Be nice. Before we get into our number 1s. You had a list of things that you really agonized over and weren't able to put on your list. I just want I have the same thing. So an honorable mentions thing before we get into our number 1s. What is on your? Just spin down the list. Here, we'll compare. We'll see. What do you got?
Hadrian's Wall is on there.
Excellent game.
So good, amazing. Roll and write.
Roll and write, fantastic.
But complicated.
Complex. Good
So,
pick.
fantastic.
And we may or may not be working on a How to Play video for that one, so watch out for it.
Yes.
What else you got?
Terraforming Mars.
Fantastic.
Love it.
A lot of people don't, but
They don't?
they're wrong. No.
Oh, well, they're just
You like what
different.
you like. Yeah,
Exactly.
we quite like it. And with those upgraded tiles, the 3D tiles, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Scythe is on there.
Scythe, also on my list.
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't make the top
Okay.
10, but I quite like it. And that's
Yeah.
a game, another one that has a certain place in our lives because we play it with our friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
And
going through the
so,
campaign.
Like fond memories, even though like I lose it terribly,
I always lose.
desperately,
Yeah.
so badly. Every time I'm last. You always lose. I am last. Check your stats. I am
Yeah,
last.
I'm like second or
every
third
game.
in a 4-player game.
But it's still honorable mention.
still good. What else you got?
Tricarian.
Excellent game. I love it.
Yeah.
Yep. Is that it for your whole?
I think that's it for my honorable mentions. Those are the.
I'll spin through mine
Yeah.
really fast.
I think you have more.
Lords of Waterdeep.
Oh, I forgot about that
I
game.
know. It's a great game.
We haven't played it in like 5 years.
I know.
So good.
I have a really old one that I'll save. Orleans. Love Orleans.
Oh, it's a good
Bag
game,
builder.
too. Really
great
good
game.
game.
Raise Arcana.
Oh yeah, that's a nice
Right?
camping game.
It's a
that we play
great.
with the kids.
My Scythe I had on there.
Yeah.
One that we have not played for probably a decade, but Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective.
Oh,
Amazing, right? It's a great game. Terra Mystica. I know
Yeah.
you're not so into Terra Mystica. I quite like Terra Mystica.
It's
I got a
okay.
how to play video on that. Terraforming Mars was also on my list. Fairly new to our collection. Praga Kaput Regni.
I thought about adding that and I didn't. I think I have to play it more. Some of these games
Yes.
are on here because honestly, we've just played them a lot,
Yes.
and so I think that skews maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
A little bit,
yeah, but there's a reason we play them a lot, and it's because they're awesome. We love them.
That's true too. Yeah,
And then the last one that I had on my honorable mentions list was Alchemists.
fantastic game.
Fantastic game. And when we
So
played,
good.
When we played the expansion, how good was the expansion?
Yes, the expansion was great. Yeah.
All right, that's
Yeah.
the honorable mentions. Let's get on to the big stuff. All right, with that foundation laid,
Okay.
your number one game of all time, Cheryl, is
My number one is Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Lost Ruins of Arnak. I didn't
Yeah.
even see that coming. I didn't even have that anywhere on my list. I completely forgot about Lost Ruins of Arnak.
You forgot about it?
I feel bad now.
You feel like it should be on your list somewhere?
First, tell me why you like Lost Ruins of Arnak.
I just have so much. It comes down to theme, and clearly we are theme people.
We're theme people.
I love the theme. Partly why it's more fun even is because Ryan printed all of these really cool. You have a Bits Please episode about
I
it, right?
do, yeah. Check out that
like-
Bits Please episode. Now, it was all designed by a user named Unser Family, and all of us who printed it are waiting for him to develop like an update so that the expansion fits. But they're coming out with a new expansion, so I don't blame him for not spending a
Right,
bunch
so
of work.
they're 3D printed.
Crates.
Yeah, like super cool crates where you can keep all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like a really cool thing where you have all of your chits that you can earn at the very end when you get to the top of the track. It looks like a little temple thing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so cool.
It's really cool.
And so it sort of just adds to the whole theme.
And now I got an update to that episode coming out where I have 3D printed. Other people have 3D printed little compasses, and they look okay. They don't really look like the compasses in the game. I have gone bonkers creating these 3D compasses that look like the compasses in the game. They have moving needles. They look really, really cool. So
They do
watch
look
for an
cool.
upcoming episode of Bits Please, and I'll show you what those look like.
But beyond the bits, which make it even better, I don't know, I really enjoy the gameplay. It again, worker
What's the
placement.
mechanic? Oh yeah, worker placement.
Right? And then you have a deck, and then you're drawing cards.
So it's a deck builder.
So it's a deck builder.
People criticize it because they don't think it's deck building enough.
Interesting.
You don't get to cycle through enough, but I think that really comes down to there's random elements in the game, random setup elements in the game that cause certain cards to come out. So if certain cards come out that let you trash cards, it becomes more deck buildy.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. So you can thin your deck down so it's 5 or 6 cards. You're drawing 5 every time, so you're drawing 5 good ones.
The best ones.
Yeah. Yeah. But then how about that expansion too?
The expansion adds so much to it and just makes it way more fun too. I really love all of the characters that you can play.
Yeah, the expansion adds asymmetric player powers, and we did a whole series where there's 6 leaders. So Cheryl took one, I took one, and we played through all 6 of them in 3 different live streams. And then we looped back because we were having so much fun.
Yep.
We each picked our favorite one, and we dressed up as our favorite characters with the expansion. I did last year. Check that video out if you want to see that. No, and you can play this for free on Board Game Arena as well, and it plays really well on Board Game Arena. So if you want to try before you buy, that's a great place to do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's fantastic.
Awesome pick. And if you do end up getting the physical game, do what I did in that Bits Please episode. Do get yourself, you're not going to print the inserts and you're not going to, do my compasses or whatever. At the very least, get yourself some shoe polish or stain your little tablets, and they'll look fantastic.
They look so much better.
They already look cool, but then you stain them, they look awesome.
Yeah, just like the dark in the recesses. Yeah, it looks really cool.
I'm nervous to tell you about my number 1 board game of all time because it's a very new entry. It's a recent board game, which is unusual.
That is unusual.
Remember, my number 2 is my number 1. If you watch the first video, you'll know what I'm talking about. What else can I tell you? I was hired to make the video. So again, I don't want this kind of like commingling of like.
So it is what I think it is.
It is what you think it is,
yes.
And I don't want. I just don't want. I don't want anybody to think that my opinion is bought, because it's not. This game, I'll say what it is, and then I'll tell you all about it.
Yeah.
The game is called Sea of Legends. Back when this was on Kickstarter, this was a game that I almost backed au naturel, and I didn't, and I missed it for some reason. I don't know. I was spending my money on groceries or something unimportant like that. I didn't end up backing it.
Or other games.
And then I was thrilled to find, I think a couple of years later, that that I make how to play videos for Rahdo's channel, the Rahdo Runs Through channel, and they hired me to make a video for their second expansion. So the base game, first expansion, second expansion was just on Kickstarter, and so they sent me the base game. They didn't send me expansion number 1, and they didn't send me expansion number 2 because it's not even built yet, right? But they sent sort of like a print and play kind of like one-off off a resin printer kind of things, a couple of components to goof around with that. I got weirdly obsessed with this board game. What can I tell you about it? I don't like it when other hosts say like, "Oh, this game fired that game," because as somebody who's been fired a few times, I don't like the F word.
Okay, fair.
It gives me, I don't know. It just makes me sad and afraid.
Bad feelings.
Bad feelings. But to be truthful, Merchants and Marauders has been supplanted. It's been replaced entirely by Sea of Legends for me. I don't know if I could ever go back to playing Merchants and Marauders, just because Sea of Legends does it so much better. Yeah. The big complaint with Merchants and Marauders, if you like that game, it's a big sandbox open world pirate game. But the big problem is that one of the things you can do is you can either move, or you can attack someone, or you can go to port. Oh, that sounds pretty simple, right? But in Merchants and Marauders, when you go to port, it's like, here's these 12 things you can do, and it takes half an hour, and everybody's bored.
And there's one deck.
And there's, yeah.
So you can, the next person can't even take, because if they're going to take a port action,
yeah,
they need to fish through this deck.
Right. What you do at port affects what other people might do, so like forget about it.
It just holds everything up.
It does hold everything up.
So you go get a snack.
Yeah, so you make a sandwich. Sea Legends takes all those like 80 port actions and splits them up, so it's like, if you want to hire a crew, go to this island. If you want to upgrade your ship, go to this island. But you can do that one thing, and it's not going to take all day. It is shockingly, I don't like this isn't the shocking part. I don't like cooperative games.
I don't usually either.
Shockingly, this is a cooperative game, but it's unique in that it's co-opetitive. So there are factions. You all get to play a faction, and then there's bad guy factions on the board, and you have to you have to come together to repel the bad guy factions, or everyone loses the game. Like if you let like the zombies overrun the Caribbean, forget it, you all lose the game. So you all have to team up to fight the bad guy factions, but you're all individually trying to win, which I love. That's co-opetitive at its very core. It's great. I don't like cooperative games where it's like, here's the big deck of bad things. It's like, oh, there's a storm. Everyone lose 8 points unless you collected the magic hoo-ha or whatever. And it's just dull. This is cool in that there is an event deck, but when you flip it, it's like, this faction now gets stronger. This faction now gets stronger. So as you're improving your skills and upgrading your captain, your ship, you're hiring better crew, you're getting artifacts that do cool things for you. Well, the bad guys are getting stronger too. So you really have to stay on top of them. And it becomes a puzzle, because you can make the bad guys fight each other.
Yep.
So depending on like the person in the
or the other player.
Or the other
really
players,
want
yeah. Yeah, so if you're in the
a fine
driver's
balance.
seat, this is another point I'll mention too. If you're in the driver's seat, you can decide where the factions go, so you can make them beat each other up and knock each other off the board, or you can just be like, go attack that guy. And but there's player killing, so there's player versus player combat, but it is so gentle that it's a setback, but it's not like Merchants and Marauders where it's like lose your ship, all your stuff, all
Get
your
a new
money,
captain.
get a new captain, self-flagellate with a cat o' nine tails. Like, it's not like that. It's not really abusive.
You don't feel, totally dejected.
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, that sucks, but I can probably
And I've
recover.
lost everything.
Yeah, it's
I'm ruined.
yeah, ruined. So I should mention this. We've all been waiting for the Pledge Manager to open up for the second expansion for Sea of Legends. If you're watching this right now at the time of release, please know that in January, the Pledge Manager opens up for that game. They've got some fantastic stuff for you to purchase with your dollars. Again, they haven't paid for any of this. I'm full transparency. I do desperately want them to send me the other expansions. I have asked. Whether they will or not is up to them. I don't care. But this is out of the goodness of my heart, and sincerely, I love that game.
I just love that you feel like you're a pirate.
You really do. But why?
Because of this little story elements, and it's like, I don't know, and it's like, I'm gonna go beat this guy in my ship. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's also I've described it as queer as hell. So if you're queer and you like that kind of thing, your board game. It's one of the very few board games I know that is kind of queer. Or it's got LGBTQ stuff in it. If you dig it. It's also like
It's fun.
it's so dumb.
So fun.
Some of the story segments, like, it's app assisted, and that might turn you off. But like, one of the story segments we got while we were playing it is like, you have a lover. This is another unique thing. You take a lover and a fighter, and you have
Lover
to
and a
like,
rival.
Lover and a rival, and you have to sort of diminish the rival's influence on you so they don't do bad things to you, and like pump up your lover so your lover can do good things for you and increase your abilities.
Just move it up and down.
These little stories, like this one story, I ended up with my lover at like a cafe or a restaurant or something, and we had a plate of spaghetti in front of us, and I'm reading this going like, they're not going to do the Lady and the Tramp spaghetti thing, are they? And I kept reading, I'm like, oh my God. And they did the thing with the spaghetti strand. I'm just like, it's so goofy. It's so sick. There was a farting contest at one point. It's kind of like if you wanted to play, the closest thing to The Secret of Monkey Island, the board game, is this. It's Sea of Legends.
Yeah, it's got a sense of humor to it.
It does, and it's fun. It's legit funny.
Yes.
And unlike another board game we played this year, My Father's Work, which
You're mentioning.
I absolutely despised. I didn't like it at all. But I like to set these two up as counterexamples. So the text in My Father's Work went on for pages and pages, wasn't funny, wasn't interesting, didn't evoke a mood. I forget about it.
No.
Sea of Legends was pithy. The designers actually had like a character count for what each piece of story could be. So if you go over this many characters, forget it. We've got to trim it down, right? So I really appreciate that. It's respectful of the time of the people around the table.
Mm-hmm.
The upgrade to the app, which is coming out, lets you... it keeps a ship's log so that if you forget which pieces of story you're following along, because there's like 3 different storylines you can follow with your own captain, it's doing that. Oh, it's just everything. Oh man, it's great. And it's the game that made me want to paint my minis. Cheryl wants to paint minis so badly. And
I'm super into it now.
and when we went on our little like
Anniversary
trip, yeah, we brought some minis along to paint, and we were just painting some
learned,
test
yeah.
minis. But yeah, Cheryl goes home and she goes, I desperately want to paint the Sea of Legends minis.
I did. They look so cool, honestly.
So we went into the garage and I took every mini from every board game that I have that I'd ever want painted, and I put them in the garage and painted them all at once. Did a zenithal priming of black first and then white, and then we're ready. So those are ready to go, but I haven't painted them yet because I want to make all my mistakes on other minis.
Like
and
the
then...
Scythe ones that we started.
Exactly. So Scythe is the testing ground.
Wow,
Poor
okay.
Scythe. But they're looking okay.
Well, because Scythe is like gritty, so.
Yeah, Scythe
Yeah.
you can make painting errors, I think.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah, they're all smudgy
It's
from
gritty.
war. It's gritty, that's all it is. So those are our favorite games of all time. Once again, we've got a comment section below. Please be respectful. We'll try to be respectful right back to you. If not, we'll give you the old heave-ho. But tell us what you think. Do you like these games? Do you not like these games? You can tell we're very theme-heavy gamers. We don't mind a little bit of random if it doesn't really mess up gameplay. I like pirates. Cheryl doesn't like space. And that's Knights Around the Table in a a nutshell. If you want to talk about this stuff more in depth with us, please join us on the Discord server. We're there every single day, and there's a ton of really lovely, nice people who have similar and sometimes differing opinions about what makes a good board game, and we can all have just a big old chat fest and talk about what we would like and don't like. Thank you for joining us with this one, and we'll see you again in the next one. Did you just watch that whole thing? Oh, hey, to 100% this video, click the badge to subscribe, and then click the bell to get notifications when I've got new stuff.